What is going on, guys? Sinister here, back with another Smite video, and we are continuing our building series, and we are next up is Arachne. And we are next up does not make any sense, but next up is Arachne after Ao Kuang. Technically our first assassin, but I categorized Ao Kuang as an assassin because we're doing junglers. And Arachne gonna fit best in jungle. Arachne's not gonna be seen in jungle a lot. You'll see her probably a lot in casuals, probably even a good bit in ranked, but you're honestly probably never gonna see her in the SPL. I don't think I remember seeing her in the SPL, honestly. I think I've seen, like, low-key play twice, maybe 3 times last season. And that was, like, what? And once, even in the jungle. By... Who was it? I forget who played it. But I think that game, adapting, also went on her jungle. So, like, that was just a weird game. But, yeah, Arachne. Very... This is going to be a controversial build, probably, because you can build Arachne a lot of different ways. It's not like Ao Kuang, where it's kind of cookie cutter. You can build full attack speed Arachne. You can build cooldown Arachne and, like, straight pen. You can build even crit on Arachne. You can go tanky. You can go lifesteal. Those aren't all going to be super good, but, like, they're things that you can go, and they're builds that I have seen, and they're all builds that I have seen worked. Anything can really work as long as you're good with that god. And you're playing people that don't know how to counter you. But I'm going to go, like, in my opinion, again, this is my series, so I think this is probably the best build. First, you're going to start, again, always Bumba's Mask. Now, Ao Kuang, you wouldn't go a second starter item because I mentioned that before, his bad early game. Arachne has a really good early game, so you can definitely go a second starter item. This will be up to you. You can go ahead and get Bluestone for extra damage if you're going to be ganking a lot or fighting early, or you can go Death's Toll for more sustain. I would recommend Death's Toll, because this will allow you to not use all your mana when trying to heal back up with your wand. So, Death's Toll I think would be better, but again, you can go Bluestone. Now, after you get these 2 starter items, and a cup, I think you can afford like 1 pot each, maybe 2 each at the start. So after this, first thing you're going to get online is boots. Go ahead and get Warrior Tabi. Don't get Ninja Tabi on Arachne. Don't do it. Warrior Tabi going to be the first item. Now, after this is going to be a new item that you didn't see on any of my builds last season, and that's going to be Heartseeker. Obviously, for obvious reasons, you see that I'm not idle. What is this? For obvious reasons, Heartseeker you see on like everything. It started off at 2100 at the start of the season, and it was so good they had to up it. 25 power, okay. 10 pen, okay. 10 movement speed, okay. Nothing crazy, right? Why is that 2400? A passive. Every successful basic attack gives you 1 stack. At 5 stacks, so 5 basic attacks. You're jungling. You're clearing jungle camps. You're going to get 5 basic attacks all the time, off jungle camps. Your next ability deals bonus damage equal to 100% of your physical power for the first enemy got hit. So, think of this, right? You're clearing right harpies with Arachne. Boom, 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 boom. 5 hits, whatever it is, they're dead. You got 5 stacks in your Heartseeker. You throw a web on the enemy, boom, 100% of your damage done. Boom, just like that. On top of what the spiders are going to do. It's crazy. Crazy. Get Heartseeker. Such a good item, even though they up the price. It's still so good. After Heartseeker, now this can go, you can do this either way. You can go ahead and buy Each of All first to get some attack speed on. If you're ahead and can afford to get Each of All, you can get Each of All and then Heartseeker. Generally speaking, though, I don't think Each of All fits in this season. You can still get it, it's just you're going to sell it later on already. But the fact that you get 2 starter items in the meta right now, you don't want to end up selling 3 items from your build. That's just too much gold to invest. I wouldn't really recommend getting it. You could still get it if you're ahead, just to get extra pen and attack speed. Because right now, you don't have any attack speed. That's the one downside, but you get it off here too, so it's not a huge need. After Heartseeker, this is where attack speed will come in hand. It's a weird item that I wouldn't think would be on Arachne after, or before this season, but thankfully they changed it, and the Crusher I think is a really one of the most underrated items. Gives you 30 power, 15 pen, and 15 attack speed now, and the passive has changed as well from last season. Successfully hitting an enemy god with a basic attack, which, by the way, you're going to do with Arachne a lot, because she has a slow and a stun, and a movement speed increase for her, and a CC immunity ult. People aren't going to really get away from you with Arachne. So every successful hit on a god will subtract 1 second from all your abilities on cooldown. That's amazing. That's good for Arachne, because she only has 1 CC immunity, 1 getaway, and that is her ult. She needs the most cooldown, and I don't build cooldown on her. So that's good. Get Crusher.
This will be
Really
killer.
good for Arachne. Pen, attack, speed, and power, and a phenomenal passive. All fit with her. After Crusher, like I said, this you could by this point have Executioner, Kin Slice, and Fatalis online. You can build whenever you want, but again, this is kind of what I think. After Crusher, I would go ahead into either Stone Cutting or Kin Slice, but I'm gonna go with Stone Cutting more than likely first. It's kind of up to you. You can also go Executioner. This is going to depend on what they have. If they have a lot of health gods, like they have Athena, that has a lot of health items, they have a Mare with a lot of health items, they have a Hades, they have a Zong, I don't know, something like that. You're going to want to get Kin Slice, because it's going to do, you know, the health. It does 4% of the target's maximum health. If they have a lot of protections, they have a Shock, Solo, and an Odin support, and they have a tanky Hades in the mid with physical protection. I don't know. A lot of physical protection. You're going to want to get Executioner, because that is going to go through their protections rather than their health. It all depends on what they're building. So this will come later, the decision making. But first, I would go Stone Cutting Sword. Gives you 50 power, which is crazy. 10 movement speed, which is really important on her, because she has no getaway aside from her ult. And melee basic attacks decrease the enemy's physical protections by 10, and increase your physical protections by 10 for 3 seconds at a max of 3 stacks. So at 3 stacks, you get 30 pen and 30 protections. That's really good. For 2600, along with 50 power and 10 movement speed, not bad at all. Go ahead and get Stone Cutting. At any point, you are going to want to sell Bumbas and Death Toll. Keep them as long as you can. Sell them if you can finish an item. That's kind of the rule I go by. So once you sell these, after Stone Cutting, this is where the Kin Slice and Executioner will come into play. You can get one or the other, depending on what they're building. More than likely, I'm going to go Kin Slice, just because I tend to get ahead with Arachne. That's another thing. If you're ahead with Arachne, the builds aren't really gonna matter. You can just go full-on crit from that point and like one-shot people. If you get ahead with Arachne, you can just kind of have fun, and it's really easy to get ahead with Arachne and casuals. So Kin Slice, more than likely gonna be that. And to finish it off, good old trusty Titan's main. Can't go wrong with it. Can't mess it up. 30 power, 33% flat pen.
This will
A lot of people will probably be mad at this build because there's no crit. I don't build crit in Arachne. I don't. I like the full attack speed power pen. You don't need crit. You can slow them with your webs. You can stun them with your one. I don't think there's a need for crit. I just don't on Arachne. This, in my opinion, is a lot better. Now, relics. We need to go over that. First relic you're going to want to get. Where are the relics at? We'll just click on this. Beads. Get beads. You need it. Second one, a good one would be Blink to get away. If you think you can make full use of that. Aegis would be good as well. And Sprint, if you don't already, or Heavenly Wings, sorry, if you don't already have one on the team, or if you want another, because again, you don't have an escape aside from your ult. That's a key point. I wouldn't initiate with your ult very often. I would use that to escape unless you're chasing a kill, just because that is your only means of escape. We'll go ahead and check it out right here, what they kind of do. You can look at this and pause it if you want. The priorities on upgrade. The very first thing you're going to get is your ultimate. Get it. Or not your ultimate, sorry, your webs. Get it, because you can throw it down on campus. Just getting the webs first is really good. After the webs, you're going to want to head and get your 1, and then your 2. Get your ultimate whenever possible, because it does reduce the cooldown. So your priorities are ult whenever you possibly can. Here's where the indifference comes in. The 2 is going to be, or sorry, yeah, the 2 is going to be the last thing you upgrade. I like to go ahead and get my webs first, because I like to poke people out with webs on the mid lane and stuff. If they're, especially if it's like a Janus or a Zhong or a Chang'e or any god that needs to get out of position. Like a Ra can just kind of stand right in his minion wave and throw his beam down, whereas Janus kind of has to move to the side, Chang'e has to go to the side, Zhong has to go to the side to get his stacks. Gods that kind of have to outposition themselves, you can poke out so easy with their webs, because once you upgrade this like to 3 times, these do so much tick damage, and mages can't kill them early, that by the time they're dead, the mage is at less than half health. The webs are so good to upgrade first, in my opinion, but if you're going more standard, your Venomous Bite is what 90% of people like to upgrade because it just does a lot of damage, a lot of healing, tick damage as well, and it also reduces the cooldown on it. If you want to play this safe, go ahead and get your 1 first. If you want to be a little zesty and have a little fun, go ahead and upgrade your webs first. It's all up to you. Priority is going to be ult whenever you can, 1 or 3, and then the next, and then your 2 last. It's just an attack speed and a stun. Not just an attack speed and a stun, it's a 70% increased attack speed at max rank, which is why you don't see a lot of attack speed in this build. But it's really good. We'll take a look at what the damage is going to do on basics and stuff like that, and you can kind of see how it plays out. Nothing too crazy there. We'll activate the 1, and you can see the burst. Look at all the different ticks there. I feel like I'm playing a Warlock in World of Warcraft right now. All the tick damage is going on. Your 2, look at the attack speed just with that. No, like, I have 2 attack speed arms on. 1 is Brawlers and 1 is Concise. The webs, what they look like, and the tick damage. 60 per. Late game, it's not that much. These spiders would be dead by now, but early game, they're super aggressive. Super aggressive, super hurting, and this is her ult. CC immunity, good escape, and
Get over here.
does pretty amazing damage, honestly, late game. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I didn't go over second. Yeah, I did go over second relic. I just didn't buy one. I'm going to show you what this raw bot, what happens to him. Again, this is a raw bot, but
Lie dormant. Time
yeah, dead. I mean, and I'm just going to basic attack. I won't even use anything else with my spiders there as well. It hurts. This Arachne build is nice. I like it. You do what I need. You get pen, a lot of pen from Titan's Bane and Crusher, and technically, if you want to count Stone Cutting, as well as Heartseeker, you get some attack speed, you get a lot of power, you get some movement speed. There's nothing wrong with this build. This build, to me, is the perfect Arachne build right now. You have over 2,000 health, which isn't a lot, but we're not going to talk about that beads right there. I just switched keybinds and completely forgot that that's no longer an ability. So yeah, that is this Arachne build. If you guys enjoyed it and it works for you, let me know. If you have any recommendations, let me know. You know, like I said, Arachne's different. You can build her full attack speed, you can build her attack speed crit, you can build her full crit. Those aren't all going to work. Don't go out there and build a full crit Arachne and go 0-14 and then get mad at me because I told you to. You can do it and can make it work if you're good with her. She's a really unique god in terms of that, but this is kind of what I think is the best build, and to utilize her kit best and her weaknesses best. You know, work around them. You know, it's always good to work around a god's weaknesses that you can pass by, and I think this build does that with Arachne, and it really capitalizes on her strengths as well. That is going to wrap it up, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. I will post the link to the playlist in the description. If you want to check out the other builds, you can just look at my channel, and there should be annotations somewhere at the end of the video, but social media links are in the description, guys. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you again soon.